Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Doc-Mach, and we have a very interesting, but at the same time, very disturbing story to share with you. And it's a true life story, and it's a story of terror. It's a true story of terror, a true story of possession. And I wasn't quite sure what really to make. I'm kind of at a loss for words, as you could tell. Usually I'm just a great big ratchet jaw, but this is new for me, new territory. I've studied demons, as you can see from some of the videos that I posted on basically the demon documentaries, on mythological and theological demons, demons from living religions and dead religions. And I have an honorary doctorate in demonology, paranormal studies from the USOCC, the Paranormal Clergy Institute. And I'm very fascinated with the whole aspect of demons, demonology, Satan, as talked about in the Christian and Hebrew texts. And the top three, the big three religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, all speak of an existence after this life and a spiritual realm with the forces of good and the forces of evil existing beyond this realm of existence that we know. And what's very interesting is now Christianity is based on the New Testament, but also the Old Testament, going back, to before Christ, with Moses and Abraham, and but what's also interesting too is the two religions from the research that I've done. Correct me if I'm wrong, or please forgive me if I am. But the two religions, Islam and Judaism, are identical from the point of creation down to, I believe, the splinter occurred with Abraham and his children. He had Ishmael, which was his firstborn, that he had with the servant girl Hagar, and the Egyptian, and his other son Isaac. And that is where you get the splinter of the face. And then Islam went in its own direction, and then we have Judaism, and then of course Christianity. But the three religions are so close from the research that I've done. It's truly amazing. But I know I'm going off on a rant there, but basically the forces of good and evil, do they exist? We know that evil exists here on earth, and good. You can feel that. Anybody with common sense, half a brain and a heart, has to know, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, and what is evil. But we have a story to share, a true story, with a lady. Her name is Joy. She's becoming to be a good friend of mine. And, after talking more and more, and you start to identify with a person's demeanor and their personality. And she seems like a very, very awesome, very nice lady. And but the video that I would also like to showcase is very disturbing to see the drastic transition from the woman that we're about to meet and talk to the person in the video, which is very disturbing. So I also wanted to let you guys know that if you have any kind of condition, mental, physical, you should probably tune out now, because it's going to get very dramatic. There's going to be a lot of feelings involved, and it's new territory for me. And now I've done an interview with a woman in the past, Pam, who's also a fantabulous person, and a possible, she might have had a possible demonic. We definitely were leaning towards demonic attachment for sure, and possibly moving towards possession. So you have like your the infestation, oppression, and possession stages. And there's probably in betweens as well. It's not an exact science. It's like parapsychology. It's not an exact science. But anyways. Let me cue our intro video, and then we'll get right back to you with our special guest, Joy, so she can tell you her story. Anyways, I'm Doc-Mach, your host. Welcome to Ask Paranormal.
Warning. The following program is rated TVMA. Viewer discretion is advised.
I never get tired of watching that intro video. Isn't that amazing? I think I missed my true calling in life. Ended up getting into security and whatnot, but I think I missed my true calling in life, which might be film entertainment or something, because I really enjoy making things like that. And I've had so many people say, man, that is like as good as any TV show's intro, But to get back to the point at hand here, we are talking about demonic possession and from a Christian perspective. And it also demon possession in the top three religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, they all have a belief in possession and exorcism. And that's well documented. And you could also see that online in books and videos. But all the big three religions all believe in possession and exorcism. So anyways, without any further ado, let's bring our special guest on. And everybody, welcome Joy to the stream.
Hi, everyone.
How are you today, Joy?
Hi, Sonny. How are you?
I'm doing good. Fantastic. So before we go any further, this video is going to be going to Facebook, obviously, and I'd also like to post this on our YouTube channel, which is known as A.S.K Paranormal Research Development Center is our YouTube channel. You're okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. We spread the message to the people as much as we can. Now,
Yes.
you had previously
you.
did a interview with another gentleman a while back, and I seen some bits and clips on that, and I had talked to you about, I really don't want to watch the video because I want to make sure that our show is original.
Yeah.
And if I watch too much of that, I might be copying it too much. But
Mhm.
it did look intense, and I was thinking, man, how am I going to top that? It was good. Yeah, no, his show is excellent, man. That guy is good.
He's very, very easy to, to speak to, like yourself. It was the first thing we talked a bit too first, so it wasn't so difficult, but it was difficult.
Broke the ice a little bit.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
Now, you had a request, and I was very much into it. And I think that it's also going to present the seriousness of this. But we wanted to do the Lord's Prayer. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and begin. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the Christians, the Catholics, they now I'm not sure. Do the Christians? I don't do they don't do the sign of the cross. Now I think is that exclusive to Catholics?
Yes.
Okay. Now my grandfather was Catholic. Rest in peace. He was an altar boy back in Brooklyn, New York, where he was from, right?
Okay.
And he was one of those tales like you might see with the old movies of, like, you remember the old Bing Crosby movies where Bing Crosby's like Father McCallahan or something of the boys' home, and he's like, the priests in the church,
Yeah.
And so my grandfather was also a orphan growing up, and he was a altar boy. And later on, he joined the California Conservation Corps, and he went to the military and fought the Nazis and the Imperial Japan in World War II. He was actually stationed. I don't think he actually had combat with the Germans, but he was stationed in Pearl Harbor when the Imperial Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. And my grandfather tried to get a book published on that. He wrote a book. Of course, it was never published, And at that time, it was a lot more difficult than it is today. Today, it's very simple. As long as you have the dough, you can get a book published.
Yeah.
But also, too, with his life and everything that he's done, he also used to tell me tales of UFOs, flying saucers and spaceships and ghosts. And I don't think he ever mentioned the word demon, but definitely ghosts and chasing around ghosts around the streets of Brooklyn, New York, with his friends. And so he was definitely into the paranormal. I would also consider him a amateur parapsychologist like myself, even though he didn't actually take it a step to where we are. We're really taking this to the next level. And but anyways, I went off another rant there. But I think what I was trying to get at was, so my background is, my grandfather was Catholic, and I believe my grandmother was Mormon, which is, I guess, a strange combo. But I myself am I want to say Christian. Now, I used to say that I was a Christian for the longest time, but I think now there might be so much backlash. What I like to do now is I just acknowledge that I'm a follower of Christ. And you call that whatever you want to call that, right?
Well, I mean, I sometimes say I'm a servant of God or a servant of Christ too. It depends. I mean, I'm glad that you are a follower of Christ, especially becoming involved with the topic now at hand that we're discussing.
Yeah. So anyways, it's a very, very disturbing topic. Demonic possession. Now, I have a video clip also too. I want to ask, for your permission too. I have a video clip that I found from your YouTube channel. Now, would you mind to tell the people your YouTube channel too, if you don't mind?
Oh, it's if you type Google, it's called Devil in White Plains, and it was the paranormal team that came to investigate my last residence, and that is when they came to investigate. I had fallen down and immediately gone into some type of trance demonically, and the priest that was on the phone at the time, on speakerphone, he had to pray for them to come back. The first time they came, they began to get stabbing pains in their heads and stomachs, and had to leave, and they had to pray for them to come back in. And when they came back in the second time, that's when, on their second trip to my place, a different time, that's when I began to fall down and just flat out, like, long mini exorcism or deliverance. It was 3 months before my real exorcism in New York City, in the Archdiocese of New York.
Yeah. Now your YouTube channel, of course, too. If the people wanted to watch the video for themselves, now I have the clip here. If you don't mind me playing it for our video, it'll be posted on the Facebook and our YouTube channel. But so I've downloaded the clip, and it's only on for a little over half an hour. But so you can go to Devil in White Plains. If you go to YouTube, Devil in White Plains, and now do they have to type in your name? It would be easier to find, right? Joy. And how do you pronounce your last name?
It's pronounced Corcoran, but it's spelled Corcoran, Corcoran. But if you type in Devil in White Plains, I'm the one on the floor with the crucifix on her back, so it's kind of hard to miss. But it'll say my name there too.
Yeah, so if anybody wanted to watch that video later, we will be playing that now sometime soon. But if you want to watch that on your own time or another time, you can also find that Devil in White Plains on YouTube. So I have a little picture of the building in question where it was located. Let me see if I can find that there. Whoa.
Yeah, don't go there.
What's that? Yeah, don't go there, right?
Don't go there.
now it was located in New York. Is that the building right there? You see that in the upper right-hand corner?
That's it.
Okay.
To say it's somewhere in New York.
New York, okay. And I did a little research on the building. And
really?
I didn't do extensive research, but I looked into it, and it was built in the 50s or the 60s. I think maybe it was the 50s. So it was not too old, but old enough to where it could actually have a history. But a lot of times when if you ever do want to do serious research on a location, your best bet is to actually, you're going to have to actually go. What you could do is go to the county assessor's office.
Yeah.
And also, haul records. And of course, you could, if you really wanted to delve deep, you can research, old newspapers. You go to the library and find a lot of different things. But I didn't find anything strange just skimming the top of the actual location. But that's not relevant, really. Anything can happen anywhere. Anything is possible. Don't forget the possibilities. Possibilities are endless. But now,
Well, if you don't mind me saying quickly, the demonologist, exorcist priest, knows something that happened there, that someone had basically opened a portal by doing witchcraft in the basement, and that's how it began.
Yeah, tell
To
us more
infect
about that if you know.
to infect the to cause the infestation, they had opened up some sort of portal by doing, perhaps they, paid a pentagram or something to this effect, and who knows if they used a Ouija board or a spirit board, but something happened there in the basement of that aspect of the building, where location where I was, and so of course I got the worst of it, and yeah, so it sort of was happened a long time before, and there was also an area around there that's sort of like no man's land, like a cursed swamp near there, that so there's a lot of, well, there's a lot of super negative energy, and many people who live there, everyone I know there had experienced, certainly they'd seen things, they'd heard things, were having night terrors, so they were having, I mean, I could go on and on, I don't want to do that, but yeah, it
No,
wasn't
no,
just
please
me,
do.
but
Yeah.
I was the one who
Now you say there
I was
was a
affected the
swamp.
most. Like a few blocks away, there was a swamp that I always remember when I went in there. It was there was no sound, there was no life, and the kids in the neighborhood would go, and sometimes I would go by myself, and then I realized the place was not far, maybe 4 blocks, 3 blocks away, and kids called it the swamp, but someone told me that it was cursed and never to go there, because he said, was there any noise there? There was never noise. There were never birds. It was as though the place was just dead. And I learned that yes, it was cursed. So I never went back there. And I think there's some sort of connection to the land itself. Even when I would try to plant flowers in the front, nothing would take root. Nothing would grow, and it just seemed as though it was God himself that sent me the help that he did to get me out of there in one piece, literally.
Now, the other day when I was talking to you a little bit about this, I was going through some questions, and I have some notes here. Now, what I was trying to do is be a little detective, try to piece the puzzle together, so to speak. And now, I think I asked you already here. Let me try to find that. Now, I was insinuating that it's a possibility that you might have. Now what I had mentioned before was that I kind of, as a theory or hypothesis, I always get those mixed up there. But my theory was that, is it possible, and it is possible, anything's possible, that demonic attachments and possession, but basically demonic attachments, could almost, maybe, now this is a pretty interesting theory, I think, could almost act like a virus, such as maybe now, and it could be, it might not be all cases, or it might not be any case, or it might be some cases, or it might be all cases, but like a virus, you have to be introduced to the said virus, So I'm
Hold on.
thinking, possibly. Go ahead, Joy. Possibly like a cold or a flu or a virus, you have to be introduced to that to actually become infected. So, and it's an interesting theory, I think,
It
and
is.
so, like, in other words, like how you said, that building, and you said that somebody might have been practicing some kind of black magic, some kind of black mass, and possibly opened up a portal.
Something.
And
Yes.
and when you got there,
Yeah.
basically that was the what opened you up to attack. But I was also thinking maybe it could have also possibly, you could have probably picked up an attachment from other locations that you've been to. Now, you had said that were you you said you've been to Salem, Massachusetts, right?
Long time ago. I was 16. Yeah.
Okay. Now we all know what happened in Salem. It was the
Witch trial.
right, the location of the infamous Salem witch trials, and now history is kind of taught that it was all bogus, and witches are not real, and it was just a case of mass hysteria. And and kids gone wild, not knowing the people's lives were on the line. You had a group of young ladies acting up, and ended up getting a lot of people killed, hung and drowned and crushed, and I'm not sure if they were burned at the stake, but definitely hung. They hung a lot of people. But now, isn't it possible also too that and we believe in a spiritual realm? Okay, we're speaking of Joy and myself, we're religious. Can I say religious or spiritual people? We believe in an afterlife, a higher power, and that also entails that we also believe in evil force that exists, and influences that have come. If you look at the stories from the Bible, the Holy Bible, from the Old Testament and the New Testament, I always say that the Bible is one of the most supernatural books ever written. It has ghosts, it has demons, it has people raising from the dead, people raising people from the dead. And it even also has, now people have come back and said, what are you talking about? And I told them it even also has witches in the Bible. And somebody said, witches? And I said, yes. Yeah. I said, have you ever heard the story of the witch of Endor? Endor, then they say Endor. Isn't that Star Wars? Endor, Star Wars? I said, no. I said, there was there was a story in the Bible, right? Of a king, and Saul, exactly. And he wanted to find out if he was going to be victorious in battle, a battle that was coming up. And they wanted to ask a witch, but witchcraft was outlawed. And if you were found to be a witch at that time, they would kill you. But there was a witch that they found on the outskirts of town. They went and visited her, and they ended up actually raising a spirit, an apparition, an entity from the dead of somebody from the past, another higher ranking person. And he said, no, you're not going to be successful in battle tomorrow. As a matter of fact, you're going to die. They're going to chop your head off. And they did. He ended up dying. Now, so the Bible proves itself that there were witches. There were witches in with magical powers. And if you look at too, the story of Moses and the release from Egypt, which that book is called Exodus, right? Exodus. And when he went, we know how magical that is. If you ever seen the movie The 10 Commandments or Charlton Heston, that's an awesome movie. But lots of special effects and a lot of tales of what happened from the Old Testament there. But there was also one scene where, and I did the research, and it did happen, to where Pharaoh's wizards or witches, whatever you want to call them, his priests, Pharaoh's priests, they were also able to perform magical effects, magical events, black magic. I don't know what you want to call it, but they were able to also, even though Moses, through the power of God, was able to do these magical events, other people too were able to do this, do types of different types of supernatural events. Now, maybe that they were, what's the terminology I'm looking for? Maybe they were doing that through Satan, through demonic entities, whatever that might actually be. I'm not 100% positive, you know.
Well, it wasn't. I'm going with it wasn't God.
Right.
It wasn't God the Father, because
Right. Anti-God.
I mean,
Anti-God.
they weren't. Yeah, they weren't able to part the Red Sea, right?
They weren't able to part the Red Sea, but
Pharaoh and his guys.
apparently they were able to change their staves or staves. Is that the correct term? Staves.
They did the staff.
Cobras.
I would say staff. That's true. They could do some things. Yeah.
Now was that demonically influenced? Would you say? Possibly.
I mean,
demonically influenced?
I mean, of course, I'm going to say yes.
They get their power from somewhere. Like Moses, he was channeling his power through God, and these
Correct.
priests had to have been channeling their power from another source, obviously anti-God or the devil.
Well, you see, when you say channeling, you see Moses, he was given, so it wasn't like he was. You see, he was just given. I don't want to I'm not a biblical scholar, but you see these people is like when you say anti-God, I would say like antichrist, false God. So they were doing evil to, just clearly not doing good things, not setting the Jews free. And so they wanted to sort of mock God, I guess.
Well, I mean, the word
saying,
itself,
we can do that too.
Right. The word itself, anti, when they say anti, it just means against. Anti, when it says anti-Christ, it's against Christ.
Yeah.
You know? So anti-God would be against God. So
when you said anti-God, forgive me. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. Anybody that's against God, who's going to be against God? It's going to be the devil, you know?
Yeah, because I was thinking of the New Testament when you were talking about witches, how they're referred to. St. Paul refers to them as heretics. The word heretic, meaning witch. So there's all about that. But for some reason that had been on my mind in case someone was wondering about that term, terminology of heretic meaning the same thing in essence. Mm-hmm.
Right. So witchcraft. Now, that was the reason why I was bringing that up is because you had visited Salem, Mass, and a couple of other locations. Now, I would say Salem, Massachusetts. Now, my team and I had talked about possibly going out to Salem, Massachusetts, and do an investigation there at the right on the site of the Salem witch trials location. For paranormal investigating, and it sounds awesome. I can't wait. Maybe we might do it next year. Of course,
I'm just gonna have. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We'll have to take all the.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Joy.
I'm always wanting to protect you, Sonny. I don't know. I'm always like, oh, let me protect you.
Oh, but well, let me show you.
I understand that's what you do. Well, holy water, good. I want you to take that with you.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm gonna take a shower with it.
I have mine behind me. I have mine right behind me, the same bottle. Because I was 16 and a young, silly teenager that wanted, little girl, wanted my dad to take me. And he's like, okay. So he took me. It was a big old joke to him. And it ended up being just, when I went, I found it to be, at the time, quite
normal,
much less than I thought it would be. Yeah, right. It wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. Like, there was lots of pretty things for sale, like hanging crystals and these things. But I was just a young, silly kid wanting to get into demonology and stuff. Of course, it was an interest of mine to go see it for myself. And I actually saw some things my father did not see, some strange apparitions that night at the hotel. But we didn't visit any actual locations per se. We just kind of walked around and, got the feel of the place. And I met a strange alleged witch who had a big staff with a giant real crystal on it. And my dad thought it was very funny, and he took a picture, and I was like this with her, and he's like, relax, she's crazy, she just thinks she's, and I'm like, now I would think I would never take a picture with this woman, but who knows, she may have been doing it just for the money to look all sensational, and he was probably right. He usually was about those things, but it was a funny picture.
It's possible. Or she might have been authentic.
Which is why I said now today I would never take that chance, because I don't want anybody touching me, because even if someone touches you, our spirit is, after everything I've learned from a very holy exorcist, demonologist, priest, I've learned a lot. In fact, if you don't mind me saying something, which I didn't mention to you, I had once in the building a young man upstairs. I won't mention his name. We were friends and hung out sometimes, a neighbor. And he came down one day and put his arm around me and hugged me like, thanks. And his body shook, like trembled. And I was like, it's okay. And I was thinking, that's weird how he trembled. And he had a funny scent to him, which I can't describe. It was unusual. And I mentioned it to Father that day, why was he trembling when he hugged me? It was weird. And Father said he had a demonic spirit on him that was trying to transfer itself onto you. And I was like, what? Because I felt like kind of ill that day after that. And I know it sounds far-fetched, but that's another instance from that place, one of many.
So now what you just mentioned there, that your dad had mentioned that he had a demonic possession or attachment and was possibly transferring to you.
No, that was not my dad at all. No,
the priest.
No. The priest had told me what I had experienced was I had a neighbor in the haunted mansion, which is what I call the place in White Plains, New York, the place where I became possessed, oppressed and possessed. And there was a neighbor who lived upstairs, a young man who we used to hang out a little bit. And he came in one day to my apartment, and we were talking, and he was trying to help me with this computer. And on his way out, he went to hug me, like a half a hug, but his body was shaking, like trembling. And I remember thinking, that's weird. He's trembling when he's hugging me. And I said, okay, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. So then he left, and I felt kind of weird. And so I called the priest on the phone, the father, the exorcist, demonologist, who's like a saint. And I said, why was, the young man shaking? And he was like, well, he had some sort of demonic entity, a demon on him that was trying to like transfer itself onto me, therefore in some way causing me to feel lust perhaps or something like that. And he didn't even know his body was trembling. But after that hug, after that touch, just a half a hug, I remember not feeling right until I called Father and I told him something's wrong. And then he's like, did anything happen today? And I said, yeah, my neighbor hugged me and was shaking. And then he explained that's what was happening. So the infestation in the building, this kid lived upstairs from me. It was affecting everyone, but many of them were not aware at all. And it was a process, a length of time. Some people were affected more than others. But I just wanted to mention that story because that's one of the many true, very weird things that happened there, that I thought you'd be interested in.
Yeah, that is awesome right there.
Some weird
Now, did you say you also been to other locations such as what are some of the other strange locations you've been to? You said have you been to New Orleans?
No, I will never go there. I always wanted to, but until recently, until I found out that, you know what, it's one of those things like I was able to get through this far without getting a tattoo, and I'm not about to do it now. So there's a lot of voodoo, and after everything I've experienced with the demonic and with the paranormal and the knowledge that I've learned, there's certain places I would stay away from, and I will always stay away from New Orleans, even though that's my team, the Saints. Football-wise, I will not go.
Any other strange locations? Have you ever been like out of the country, like somewhere strange, like maybe, like in the movie The Exorcist, starring Linda Blair? and
Mhm.
Maximo,
Mhm.
they Father Marin finds the little statue head of the real
Don't
life.
say its name. Don't say its name, please.
Well, I'm already in big enough hot water with
I'm
evil
asking you.
powers as it is. Yeah.
We
Okay.
try not to mention. Please don't. We try not to mention the names of these butt faces. I refer to them as butt faces
Yeah.
because Father introduced me to them. We now call demons butt faces because
Okay.
they are. They're stupid. But like,
Yeah.
it's best never to mention their actual name. That's all. Let's try to avoid it if we can.
Sure,
Please.
sure. I will avoid it now that you mentioned that. But also too, it's kind of a contradictory. There's a lot of contradiction in that aspect of demonology, because it's said not to mention demons by their names because it gives them power, but also too by invoking their not invoking them, but by using their name and being able to say their name out loud to call them out, basically also gives you power over them, which it's a contradiction, If you
Well,
don't
if I
say their
may,
name, say their name.
Well, if I may, okay, if you're a priest and you have the
Right.
authority by Christ, through Christ, to, okay, long story short, when the priest is aware of the name of whatever demon is plaguing the poor soul, when he says that name, it must leave, right? And yes, he has to get that name, and say it, and it leaves, but
But we're talking about
you.
ordained priests.
Yeah, but clergy who are anointed and appointed to the deliverance ministry. Pardon me.
Absolutely.
You and I are not anointed and appointed to this ministry in that degree. So that's why I say you and I would want to stay away from mentioning these names. Other than, like I said to my girlfriend the other day, when you've seen one, you've seen them all, and it's a big joke because it's a silly expression from when we were kids, but. When you've seen one butt face, you've seen them all. Like, they're all evil, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's best if it's sort of like when you mention the name of Jesus, everything's beautiful and it's the best name above all names. And that's great. You can say that until the cows come home and you'll be blessed. But any of these other names, it's best to just not, in my opinion, to say them for our own safety. And because, I just wanted to mention that to you because I know, especially not just for who's watching, but you and all the teams who walk in, this is also a part of my mission and ministry to inform those teams, your team and others, that when they go into a place, like the team that went into my place, they had no idea, that this stuff was going to go down. I mean, they thought it might be demonic, but they didn't know. And I sure didn't know I was going to hit the floor and it was going to be a big, huge thing, So
Yeah.
you have to be prepared. You never know what you're going to come up against,
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have my partner Stich can testify to how I think reckless. I guess you could say I've been reckless.
Like I say, I'm always worried about you. I'm like, please, because I know you want to rush in, but remember, fools rush in. Like,
Right.
slow it down. I
Well,
worry.
I am still kind of I am still slightly, even though I'm a man of faith, I am still slightly a skeptic, even though I've studied the hell out of and when it comes to ghosts and spirits and demons, parapsychology, demonology, psi phenomenon, I'm still a skeptic, even though with
When
all
you
the
say
evidence.
what do you mean? That do you not believe? For instance, do you believe?
I'm one of those guys. What's the terminology? I'm from Missouri. The saying. I have to. I'm like doubting. Is it doubting Thomas? Thomas, who said, "I'm not going to believe Christ is risen from
Until I
the dead."
touch his wounds.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So until I've actually seen that, I don't think that I'm not 100% into. Even though I'm 100%, well, I got to say, I don't know if I'm 100%, but I have a strong faith in God.
Yes.
But as for ghosts walking among us and demons and spirits and all that, even though it's included, which is very strange because a lot of priests and stuff, a lot of people in religious faiths, they will acknowledge God, they will acknowledge Christ, they will acknowledge Allah, they will acknowledge a grand creator. But when it comes to demons and devils, they're just like, nah. It's not real. Basically, they're skeptical. They're skeptical.
They're skeptical with good reason, though,
Yeah.
because
Why is that?
Well, because okay, we have to discern, and discern is the key word, and decipher. Like if we don't want to assume anything immediately without what is the word, religious provocation. Like that's something that the priest would use, like for instance, to find out if someone is oppressed or possessed. Like they would begin to like speak to them about Christ, or they would show them a crucifix or a rosary or a sacramental, or they may bless them, or or holy water, or say I'm giving. So there's so many things like to determine how is the person,
right?
Like even secretly, like exorcists are the ultimate investigators. They're like holy investigators. Like they could say, okay, they could put a little holy water in a drink, let's say, and the person could drink it and suddenly they have a violent reaction. So they're not going to tell the person, you know what I mean? Like, if you assume something is demonic, you can't do that. It's like a doctor is not just going to say, okay, I'm just going to assume that's what this is. So you don't want it to be that, because truly, once you find that it is, if you're not trained in demonology, and you and I know it's complicated, if you misdiagnose something like this is why it's so important, and my heart and soul is in this through Christ, because like if a child or an adult has a mental illness, and about psychology, I know you're studying that still, right?
Oh, what's that? Psychology or parapsychology?
You're studying regular psychology too, right?
That's right. I am actually, I'm trying to get my psychology diploma from the Center of Excellence, Manchester, England, and
Good.
I'm also taking behavioral therapy classes from another organization with the BACB.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the key, right? Like you want to make sure that the person's just not suffering from many different things, like from the list of whatever psychological ailments that
psychosis, schizophrenia.
Yeah, and but remember, I have to add this, that there are two diagnoses that off the top of my head, like DID, just the one where you have multiple personality. I think they call it DID. And
right, the multiple personalities. Holy smokes!
That, and then you have the DMDD, which is a relatively new diagnosis that my son was given way back when. But it's really what it is demonic oppression. But the psychiatrists and psychologists came up with this relatively new diagnosis called DMDD. Check it out later. So the point is that I'm getting to is that these are the doctor and the psychiatrist are going to dope up the child or the adult, and they're not going to tell you, just like in the movie The Exorcist, they're not going to tell you, yeah, well, listen, you need to see a priest. Most of the time, they're just going to dope you up and send you to therapy, when in fact, it's very often in those two diagnoses that I gave you are examples that may not be those things, and often are not. And that's why the psychology that you'll be taking, regular psychology, to determine, if the person, there's, like, for instance, I studied this through an exorcist through Christ, and he's a demonologist too, and he's also a clinical he has a clinical degree in psychology. Okay, so he is trained to determine if the person is A, B, or C. And so what we want to do is, the point is to rule out anything else. clearly. Now, if you walk into a place and you see somebody levitating on the ceiling like Constantine or something in that movie, you're going to know, okay, clear, it's that obvious, but it's usually not going to be that in your face obvious where, you have like a screaming person foaming at the mouth. It's not always that obvious. But if you know someone and suddenly the personality is violent, they're using profanity, all the signs that go with oppression and possession, there are so many, the signs, and you've studied all this. So, but for the public and those who have not, that are hearing this, these things are very important to remember, that if the person begins to act, if they refuse to go to church, like I was taking my son to church all the time, suddenly he refused to go. I'm not going, like violent. I was like, whoa, like complete mood, so, and this goes for adults too. I remember when I became very oppressed to the point of near possession, I was speaking to Father, getting deliverances on the phone almost every day. And when it got really bad, I remember there was a moment, there was 2 hours where I didn't remember where I was. And that's what scared me. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, like what's wrong? And later on, about a year later, the priest father said, that's when you were possessed. He didn't want to tell me that day, oh, you were at church and you forgot where you were for 2 hours. That's because you're possessed. Like he didn't want to tell me that day because I probably couldn't have handled it. But later, that's when he confirmed. He said, by the way, that's when you were possessed. Like that's when it had gotten to the point where, and mind you, that's obviously not too long before the Devil in White Plains video happened, because a few months after that, I obtained a real exorcism, and I have proof, that a document that basically says, you do this at your own risk. There's no guarantees, and I thought I sent you a copy of that, but I'm not sure. Which is kind of proof that
the actual certificate.
Yeah, see, because Sonny, what happened is when I went in there, I didn't know I'd be signing anything, and the priest said, "Can you sign this?" And I read it, and I remember thinking I could die. So I said to him, "Can I please have a copy of this? Just for my records. If I don't die, I want to be able to prove to people this happened." And he said yes, surprisingly, and he gave me a copy. Thank God. And now I know why I asked, because I did survive, thanks be to God. And that helps those who may be skeptical that it's probably not too easy to get something like this, because it's sure not easy to find an exorcist priest or an exorcist of any Christian denomination. It's really not.
I found the document in question here. Let me try to put that on the screen, if you don't mind.
Not at all, no.
Okay, so now let's see. Let me hit this little button here. Okay, and now I'm going to bring up the document here. I wonder if you can actually, can you see that okay?
It's very small. You have to, can you make it a little bigger, because the print's real small, for me anyway.
Yeah. Let me try doing this. Save image, desktop, save. Okay, so now let's X that out. Stop that there. And let's open that up. Okay, let's see if this is better here.
I'm just going to move my chair up a little bit.
I wonder if that's is that a little bit
well
better?
I can see the format, but it's very small print, but
well, I mean, that people don't really need to see all the details, but basically
that's it, right. Yeah, that's a format,
right. It's the from the Archdiocese of New York, special ministry, and it's exorcism rights, and a disclaimer and notice, and here's your name. And the date, which is not too long ago, July 11th, 2017.
That's right.
2017.
I will not forget that date. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now it says here, It says notice of hazards and dangers before you seek advice, evaluation, investigation, deliverance, or exorcism. You must acknowledge that you understand that there are possibilities, hazards, and dangers of physical, emotional, and material damage that may or could occur to yourself, others, animals, and property. You must acknowledge that there are no assurances or guarantees of a successful outcome. You must acknowledge that you understand the outcome may be negative. The possessed, obsessed, afflicted, physically ill, or mentally disturbed individual may get worse. Property may be damaged or destroyed. Hauntings and frightening unnatural activities may occur or worsen. Friends, family members, or others in attendance at an exorcism may become possessed or be attacked, wounded, harmed, or even killed. We cannot be responsible for any negative changes in your health and mental conditions. We cannot be responsible for any damages or loss in any form. Occult and paranormal investigation, evaluation, exorcism, deliverance, and other similar activities we may engage in cannot be considered scientific disciplines because they involve interaction between the natural, the unnatural, and the supernatural, and they should have also included preternatural, and results cannot therefore be absolutely predicted. Preternatural is just basically natural events that just haven't been it hasn't been scientifically proven yet, but it's a natural. You have the right and are encouraged to request your physician, mental health professional, or legal advisor attend any and all of our activities. The afflicted party, if a living subject. That's very interesting right there too, Joy.
I'm listening.
And now, well, I'm reading there. It says the afflicted party, if a living subject.
Wait,
So now,
can you just finish the sentence? Because I'm just curious what that sentence is.
if the afflicted party, if a living subject, must be following all directions of his or her, its primary, and then include its primary health care provider at least 2 months prior to and at the time of any exorcism. Well, the part that I was very interested in right here, Joy, is the afflicted party, if a living subject. Now, do they also perform these rituals for deceased persons? I mean, that's what that kind of indicates.
I mean, I have never heard of that. I'm sure that Father's watching. I don't know if he can chime in, but my guess is that I know that people have been in comas. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've never heard of, if it's written, then I'm assuming that when someone dies, perhaps they can get some type of, the answer is I have no idea.
Almost like last rites after the person has passed, right?
I've never even thought of it, and I've read that paper many times, but
isn't that strange?
Yeah, that's only you would find that, pull that in a needle in a haystack. You find it, Sonny. But no, I mean, God bless you, because now we will get the answer. It's just a matter of time. I mean, now when it says if a living subject, because this is like a warning, what does the rest of the sentence say again? I just want everyone to understand that it's quite dangerous. It could be quite dangerous.
The afflicted party, if a living subject, must be following all directions of his, her, or its primary health care provided at least 2 months prior to and at the time of any exorcism. The exorcist reserves all right to suspend or stop an exorcism as he or she sees fit and proper. You must acknowledge that your participation in any of our activities is at your own risk.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
I appreciate you reading that. It is strange, but like that's your thing, strange, because you just found. I mean, I've had that for like years, and I've never asked that because with what I've been through, I guess I just am so grateful for being alive. Because that day, I just read it in shock because I didn't know it could kill me but yeah, it was. I'll have to get back to you on that one, on how that would work if someone passed away and they, I mean, perhaps if they thought there was an evil spirit around them. I mean, I can hypothesize forever about that, but yeah,
Almost like a state of now Catholicism. Catholicism doesn't only teach in heaven and hell; it also teaches in other realms,
purgatory.
purgatory and limbo, where souls are trapped awaiting release. Right?
Well, we don't really talk about limbo. I mean, I've heard The Exorcist speak of it, but it's something that we talk less. We talk more about. You know, when you would think more about that because you're into the ghost thing. Like, what I mean is that's more your field. But like, purgatory is more my understanding as a Catholic, that if we're not in a perfect state of grace and we just, like, I don't know, did something really bad and then we died, we would not go into heaven directly. We would go first to purgatory, which is based biblically on the purification, a place of purification. Father has chimed something in, and it says, can you read that, Sonny? By Father Otto
of the Archdiocese of New York! Exclamation point. In the special ministries! Exclamation point.
Yeah, Father Otto was the exorcist who performed my exorcism, and thanks be to God, Father Reuben here, he's been the one helping me, but helped me to get that exorcist on the phone to get the actual exorcism, because even Father Otto at the moment was not quite sure if I was that afflicted. Now, what does Father say here? Would you like to read that?
Yeah. That form is filed for the Archdiocese of New York. Also, the copy goes to the Vatican.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is really official stuff. Whoa.
So it is hard to get the paper. Okay. Yeah, you can't just type one up and I mean.
Then he also made a couple of other comments. Let me post this up. The demons who affected you, Joy, were legions. Right now, remember you saying that there were hundreds, over 100 demons.
I love you, Father, but I hate when you say that because it just reminds me. Yeah, but that's a lot, I guess.
Right now, I actually did a demon. If you go to our YouTube channel, Ask Paranormal, and you can see I've done some documentary videos on demons. And
I haven't checked yet, but I'm listening.
Well, one of them was on the demoniac.
In the Bible, the demoniac, yeah.
Right, the demoniac, right, where Jesus, right, Legion, exactly, Legion. I'm sorry, Jesus and his apostles. They go to this island. Is it? I don't want to say Patmos.
Well, that was the island that St. John went to write the Revelation.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name where Legion was at. Legion was also on some.
Now I don't remember. Now we got Father here, but I remember the story. Yes, I remember it well. What do we have?
Only clergies can to another what?
Only clergies can go to another clergy, like meaning. Like, for instance, Father's referring to my exorcism, that only a priest like Father Reuben, when he called Father Otto, who was the main exorcist who at that time in the Archdiocese of New York, he's the one who gave me the exorcism because Father Reuben, thanks be to God, called him on the phone and was like, listen, because I called Father and said, I don't think Father Otto's believing that I have issues here and that I need an exorcism. So I could hear Father Reuben on speaker saying, well, Father Otto, listen. And as soon as I heard Father Reuben's voice on the phones and Father Otto sat there and this huge came out of my mouth and Father Otto was like, yes, I will help her. After Father Reuben later told me, he said, I must fulfill my holy sacrament. Like, Father Reuben, who's been helping me, he spoke to Father Otto, who then hung the phone up. It was like something out of an insane, deep movie. And he hung the phone up, and I said, okay, so I guess I'm coming back like next week for you to, tie me up and whatever, how it goes in the movies. He's like, oh no, we're going to do this right now. And I was like, now? And he's like, yeah, like totally calm, like, mm-hmm. And I was like, oh no, like, you
Now-
know, like,
Now, the reason why I brought up the story of the demoniac is now, according to
the Legion thing.
Right now, Legion. Now, the reason why he called himself Legion most likely is because they were referring to a legion of Rome, and at that time, a legion of Rome, I think, consisted of 1,000 men, right? So actually,
I have heard that. Some people think. Go ahead.
So now they're thinking that the demoniac was actually possessed by over 1,000 demons, and that might explain why he had such supernatural strength. You know, he was able to break. He always was able to break his binds and his chains basically. And so now they were saying here, Father Ruben says over 100.
He loves his that because he knows I'm like, no, I love Father to death, but it's kind of creepy when you hear. Imagine one fallen angel, a demon. Imagine one. That's filthy enough. Now, I mean, I went through, God knows, 100. It still freaks me out, you know.
How were they actually able to determine there were 100 demons? Did they hear 100 different voices, 100 different names come through?
Let me give you an example. There was there were many, hundreds of deliverances that I had on the phone with Father. Here we go. You want to read that? Father's probably answering.
No, go ahead and continue what you were saying.
Okay. So like, for instance, one deliverance could last me with Father on the phone like even 3 or 4 hours. But like at one time, I remember him saying, now you, and then I would hear, and then he would say, now you leave in the name of Jesus. And so I remember one time he counted, and I remember saying, are you counting? And he was like, yes, be quiet. And I was like, and it went on so long that I couldn't count anymore because I felt so like spent, like every breath was, it was a difficulty, great difficulty. And that is how he must have determined how many were involved. And after Father Otto in the Archdiocese of New York completed the exorcism that day that I went, through Father Ruben's intercession and help, I said to Father Otto, the chief exorcist there in New York City, I said, well, how many were there? Or I said, no, I said, that was really bad, wasn't it? And he said, there were many. And I said, how many? And he said, many. And that's all he said. And he's tough Italian, little Italian, like priest. He just like many. And I was like, well, now we know how many. There were over 100. Now, Father's probably being generous by saying over 100 because he doesn't want to say 199 or 125. So I don't know how many over 100, but that's a lot. Okay, because I know, and not just he said it, but another exorcist said there were many. So now many is also known biblically as legion. Am I correct, Father? I believe, if Sonny, am I correct in saying that? Yes, because the demon itself spoke through the man, and they said, how many are you? He said, I am legion because we are many. So it was speaking, so many. I guess that was the other priest confirming it was legion. See, because meaning the same. That is my guess.
Yeah. Well, that's an excellent guesstimation there. Now I just noticed. Okay.
What?
Well, I seen Father Ruben. You say right, Father Ruben Lopez there. And then I seen the gentleman with the beard. I said, well, you know what? I can't wait till I get my beard close to that, you know? And then I said, wait a second there.
That's not him. That's not him.
That's a picture Bigfoot. Of Harry and the Hendersons.
I thought it was like Bigfoot. Yeah.
It is Bigfoot. Harry and the Hendersons was a movie about Bigfoot. And I was thinking, man, that guy's beard's pretty good there. And I said, wait a second.
That's funny.
Okay. Very, very interesting. We got a couple more comments here.
Shall I take this one?
I'm sorry, Janice Fuden.
I'm
she
sorry.
said, she shared out. And we have another one.
Shared out.
Yeah, she shared it out. The Facebook, they're sharing it out.
Oh, okay.
Misha Upton
Mm-hmm.
says, hello, Jeremy. I think he had to go to work. Yeah, some of us still work. Yeah. Yeah. I'm still playing hooky. I went back to work for a while, and it was just, they were sending me some horrible places. I said, forget this. Janice
Sonny,
Pruden said, be right back. Yeah, go ahead, Joy.
do me a favor. I'm curious. What Father said, the last clip I wasn't able to read. Would you mind?
This?
Oh,
These
there, yeah.
legions, yeah, he says that these legions are ancient adversaries. They existed at the time of Adam and Eve.
Ave Maria. Oh my gosh.
We just got
That's
another
crazy.
one here from
Wow.
Father Ruben.
Yeah.
Base the experiences of an exorcist. Base the experiences of an exorcist. He can determine if it is legions. They are not much common in the normal realm. They are dangerous in greater numbers.
Are you sufficiently freaked out by these amazing comments, or is it just me? Because I'm just taking that in.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean,
like this, yeah.
like I said, I'm basically a skeptic at
Skeptic?
heart. Even though I have all these certificates all over my walls saying that
I know, big guy. No, I like you, but here's the thing. You say you're a skeptic, and I respect that. I respect you a lot. I do. But my question to you is, as you're a skeptic, you know a little of me and in our talks, and you've seen the footage. I'm going to ask you what you think is going on then, because I'm curious. I want to know what you think it has happened.
I watched the video, and I'll tell you right now, just like I told people earlier, it's disturbing. It's disturbing. Whatever is going on there, obviously, there was some kind of ailment, and it seems wait a second. It seems to point to a possible demonic possession. Because you're obviously under very serious distress there. It looks like you're in a huge amount of pain, quite ill, and then the process of exorcism is introduced, and it seems to have alleviated all of the symptoms. Towards the end of the video, you see it's just like nothing that had ever happened.
That was the long, what we call a deliverance. Like, it is a mini exorcism, although it seems really major. Yeah, it hurt and it was crazy, but in a real solemn exorcism, it's quite different. Whereas I'll explain in a moment, if you don't mind. I'm just quite curious what Father has to say here, because this is a real exorcist who's been doing this for years. He's my hero through Christ. So he says these legions had witnessed mankind's history, ! Through the biblical times, all wars in the history of man. So, I mean, this is true. It's just, keep in mind that Father's referring to the ones that I had on me requiring an exorcism, just like the guy that had Legion. It was necessary for him to be free. In some cases, you can't just pray for someone if you don't have, in many cases, like with mine, I needed godly, like the most powerful people to help me, like clergymen and exorcists, and with the highest credentials and holiness, and God sent that to me so that I was not destroyed, because this is, I know you're skeptic, and Sonny, and a lot of people are, and I respect that. I used to be that way years ago. I would laugh if I saw something like this, but when you've experienced what I've experienced, you realize if you live and you're blessed enough to live, you want to help people. And that's why I have my page on Facebook. And I want to help people so that they don't lose their mind, their children's, their souls. This is a battle of a war, with good and evil. And there are ways that I can help them. And I'd love to do more interviews with you in the future about countermeasures. And, I don't think anything's too strange for you. Because I know that's that's your thing, and I know this is I know this is out there, but you see, it's quite biblical, as you noted, and there there are so many things that I've learned from Father, and that can and do help, that have helped me and have helped many people that I've helped through Christ, advising them on the phone and suggesting that they do certain things that I was taught by an exorcist demonologist who he's been doing this for years, Father. And he is a living saint, in my opinion, and the opinion of others that know him. So what I'm saying is that when you have someone with his credentials who, and the exorcist who performed the exorcism on me a few months after Devil in White Plains, actually, that video. So what I'm saying is how strange would it be for an exorcist to just say, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to humor you and give you hundreds of deliverances just because I feel like wasting my time. And then for an exorcist to actually speak to another exorcist on the phone and say, we're going to do this now, and sign this paper before we do it, just in case you could die, or, whatever. And please read it. I just remember him saying in a really thick Italian accent, please read this before and sign it before we begin. So I'm thinking it'll just be like, okay, we're going to do an exorcism today. And after signing it, that's when I asked for a copy, because I prayed knowing that I may not walk out of there. And thanks be to God, I did.
Yeah, I had spoken to a friend of mine, Bishop James Long, from the USOCC, United States Old Catholic Church, about demons, possession, stuff like that. And he was now earlier you had mentioned about protection and having holy water and crucifixes and stuff like that. And Bishop James Long had said
sacramentals. We call them sacramentals.
Sacramentals. He had said that he has, because I had pointed out about Islam
silver.
and
silver. Yeah. Remember, the silver, wearing silver is, remember, and the story as to why, right?
Well, let's get back to that in a second before I forget this, because I lose my train of thought fast. My mind's everywhere. But I was speaking with Bishop James Long, and then he had mentioned, because I had brought up about Judaism and Islam and exorcism, and he pointed out that yes, he knows about these things, but he's never seen demonic presences cower in fear as much as they do when a crucifix is presented.
You notice in the video later when I watched it, I remember her touching the crucifix on my back. I remember seeing the video and freaking out, because clearly my body seemed to react to that. It was like a jerk reaction to it,
Yeah.
Pardon me. It says, if you don't mind, should I take this?
Yeah.
He says, Father is saying the exorcist has the authority from God, the religious rite, R-I-T-E. So so you don't want to just walk in and say, oh yeah, because remember, I don't know if I mentioned this, but there was a time that in that apartment that was infested with demons, I had my ex-boyfriend come and visit me, and he was an agnostic, okay, beyond skeptic. And he
Right.
said, I don't feel good, Joy. I feel really sick. And he said, I feel like throwing up and I feel really confused. I don't know what's wrong. And I said, I know what's wrong. So
Well,
I
check
said,
this out. Check this out, Joy. I have to tell you about this now
okay, tell
since you
me.
brought this up. I have to
Go.
tell you about this. So,
Okay.
anyways, without naming names, so
Yeah.
but I remember I told you I had went out not too long ago, a month or two back, with a old friend of mine, and I took her to the Aliante Casino, and we,
Tell me.
right. So, anyways, but before we went down there,
Mhm.
I went to my partner Stich's house and
Mhm.
to visit him, and I wanted to get some video footage of him to make our new intro video, the new one that you seen there earlier.
Yes.
And while I was there, I brought my friend over, and now Stitch didn't say anything about it then until afterwards. I had brought the my friend back, the woman, and when we came back here, because she had drove over here, and she drove herself over here, and then I drove to Aliante and to my partner Stitch's pad. Then when we came back over here after we finished the date, she was asking about paranormal equipment, and I had, matter of fact, I have like EMFs right there. I have EMF meters in my car, in
Okay.
the armrest, and I had brought
Yeah.
out the EMF meter, and I was showing her the EMF, and I turned it on, and I said, "Look," and it was 0.0, and then when I went like towards her to show her, it started redlining this EMF here.
No, wait. I don't know. I'm not familiar with these. Remember, I told you I wasn't ever a member of a team, although I used to want to be. So what
Yeah.
does that mean for people
Well,
like me that,
I'm gonna show you right here. Hold on.
what does that mean? That there's a ghost present or a demonic entity present?
Well, no, I can't say that, but that I can say that there's an electromagnetic field present. Let me turn this on.
What is an electromagnetic field? Explain to me, the layman out here trying to understand the paranormal lingo.
Well, sure. You have powers, powers in the universe. Okay, you have powers in the universe. You have the weak nuclear, strong nuclear, gravity, gravitational force, electromagnetic forces in the
Right.
universe, and these are all powers or forces of the universe. Now, electromagnetic field can be produced from various things. Basically, if you just break it down in layman terms, EMF or electromagnetic is either
EMF. Okay.
it's either that it's either or, it's either electrical or it's magnetic. So now this device picks up any kind of electrical frequencies, any kind of electrical field or magnetic field. Now let me see if I can get something to set this off here.
Do that with
But-
all your dates? Do you check them out with that, all your dates, Sonny?
No, I don't. She had brought it up. Because she was telling me
Wow.
that she thinks
Oh.
she might have some kind of demonic
Attachment?
attachment.
You
Yes.
should have her call me, please. At Help for
Well,
Possessed.
So
I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah. So let me finish the story here. So, anyways, as you can see from the EMF meter here,
Yes.
it's at 0.0, yeah.
Yes.
And as you can see, I'm holding this like right up near the TV. Nothing's going on, yeah. So, I mean, you have to have something significant to set this
Like an
up.
energy, like mass, because it's mass and it's part mass. And what is the other part? Energy
Well,
and mass.
Right. So
the entity would be.
right.
Yeah.
So what I did was it was 0.0 like I have now. When I put it towards her so she could take a look, I'm like, 'cause she was standing here, I was like, see, and it went off. And I was like, that's strange. I took it away and it turned off. I put it towards her, it redlined.
Now,
if I
red
take
line
this,
means it went to the top, like the highest degree of like you have an entity there. Is that what red
No.
line means?
no, there's no highest degree. We've seen EMFs go up to 100 or even 200, which is ridiculous. But now I'll
So
take
what's
this.
the red line, like 50? I mean, what?
A red line would be a 4.0, I believe. So now I'm put it by my computer.
Uh-huh.
And let's see. Okay, I'll put it by the computer again. Okay.
Okay.
So
I got
basically,
it.
see, I mean, I had to have that right on my PC for this thing to register. But what was
Right.
strange is, so when I put it towards her, it would go off, and I would take it away, nothing. Put it towards her, red line. Take it away, nothing. I checked. She was wearing just like a black silk dress, and she didn't have any she didn't
What
have
about
like a magnetic necklace on or anything like that.
What about
And
an
I even
under bra? Like,
no, that's not going to set up. I even
okay.
asked her. Now maybe she had a pacemaker. I asked her,
Oh,
do you have a pacemaker? And she says no. So I'm wondering, why is that setting that off? You know. And then I was telling her, go away. You know, walk out to the driveway, and it would go. It would be 0.0. And I would tell her to come back. When it came back, it would register again. Anyways, I called Stich and I told him about what had occurred. Yeah.
okay. What
I
did he
called.
say?
Well, I called Stitch and I told him about what had occurred, and he said, "You know what? Something happened earlier, and I didn't even piece it together until you told me that about she might have some kind of demonic attachment or possession where she's at. She's setting off the EMF meter." He said when I brought her over there and they shook hands, he said he got ill.
He felt it. He got nauseous. Oh no.
And then after when we left to go to the casino, he said it went away.
See, hold on. Now he made physical contact. You
Yes.
follow me?
Yes.
He shook her hand, right? Or
Yes.
he shook her hand, or he hugged her. So that was like when the guy hugged me and trembled. So you got to be careful. Like I know St. Paul said in the Bible something like, "Do not lay hands too readily on everyone." So like after what I learned the hard way, like that's why I tell you this stuff, because you got to be careful who you touch and who you are around, because these things, I don't know if you remember that old movie Fallen with Denzel Washington, but in the concept of that, the demon could jump from one person to another. And by the way, they can jump, and they do jump clearly, because you just say, I told you with what happened. I never got to finish the story. When I was praying for Tim, this is the confirmation we're looking for here. I was praying for Tim, my ex-boyfriend. When he said, I feel really nauseous and sick, right? So me not being a priest, thinking I could just do this in the name of Jesus. So I said, in the name of Jesus Christ, get off of him. And it did get off of him. But guess what? It went directly onto me. And all the symptoms he had, immediately I had. I was nauseous. I was sick. I was confused. So he was like, I feel great. And I'm sitting there like, oh. And I said, well, good, thank God. Excuse me, I have to go in the other room and pray. So I ran in the other room and was like, please, God, remove this from me. So what happened is, pardon me, Father is saying all spirit entity give a magnetic field of energy. So all spirit entities give off a magnetic field of energy. So yeah. Okay, then you hear that from the exorcist here. So all spirit energy give off a magnetic field of energy. Or energy. So when you did that thing over the woman, hold on. Bear with me.
Yeah.
Bear with me. I got to plug in. Hold on.
Phone charger.
Yeah, hold on.
Awesome. Go for it. Take your time. Now while you're doing that, Father Ruben, I wanted to also thank Father Ruben for joining us, but he also says here, the demons exist between pure mass and pure energy in our realm.
It's a true story. He should know. I should know, but I mean, I'm telling you, it's real, Sonny. And you got to watch with this. When Stitch shook her hand, that was like a butt face, which is what, I call demons, because Father, that's what he always calls them. Like, when he felt and he shook her hand and then he felt the same symptoms, it jumped on him. So you got to say, please stay away from her. I hope you do. Or at least, give her some phone numbers.
That's the one that I had told you that
I know.
After I hadn't talked to her in the longest time, she started giving me texts, and wanting to talk and hang out. And I've been guilty of this in the past, texting women and they don't call or text back, and I keep texting. And I'm like,
I don't know.
okay, I mean, but eventually I get to a point where it's like, okay, she don't want to talk to me, that's it. But after she was texting me for so long and I wasn't responding back, her text became
violent,
hostile. Yeah. And it's just like, whoa, man, I'm glad.
Yeah, remember we were talking about before, the mood changes. Suddenly the person will be like, give me, like when my son became completely possessed at some point before all this went down with me, which is another story, but I remember him saying, give me a cookie. And I was like, no, you can't have another one. And I remember he came out with a butter knife, like, give me a cookie. And I was like, what? And I said, let me speak to Michael John. And all of a sudden he sort of stopped and he looked strange. And I took the butter knife from his hand, and he started to cry terribly and was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. So the thing was overtaking him. I could see it was not him. That's why I said I want to speak to Michael John, because I was testing in a way. And keep in mind, everything that I was being told and taught as this was happening before my eyes was through the help of an exorcist priest. So I couldn't go and tell all the psychiatrists, oh, by the way, this is a demonic entity trying to possess my son. So I knew this. And one day, only one day, Father Ruben called me on speaker, on the phone, and I kept telling him my son, I think, is possessed. And he said, okay, look, let me speak to Michael John. So I said, okay. And I get him on speaker, and he says, Michael John, how are you? That's all he said. Sonny, do you know what happened? Literally, my son ran. I've never seen him run so fast, out the front door of our apartment, down 4 flights of stairs, and down the block like he was insane. I said, Father, I have to go. I dropped the phone. I had to run after him. And that's a true story, because the demons in my son at that time, because he was possessed, did not want to hear, could not stand the voice of Father. Because clearly, he speaks with authority of God and Christ and the Holy Spirit, and you could hear it when you watch that horrific looking video when he's like, get off of her, because he speaks with an anointing from God. So that power, that's how strong it is through Christ. And that was my son's reaction. He went running like a bat out of hell, like immediate. There was no word. It was like, what the? Yeah. So I've seen many things like that, and I've seen. I know we probably don't have all night, but I have a lot of stories that are true, and I want to help people so they don't go through what I went through, so they understand. Maybe your kid or your wife or your husband's not crazy. They may be suffering like this woman most likely is from a demonic affliction, obsession, oppression, or even possession. So we have to investigate and help these people as much as we can. I mean, I just help them really on the phone to discern and ask questions and and teach them countermeasures and stuff. I tried to send you a video on countermeasures earlier, but I couldn't get it through to Ask Paranormal. But I want to send that to you again, because that's very helpful.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Now, we have the video in question there that you gave me permission to showcase. Now, I wanted. Now, obviously, it's too long to show it in its entirety. That's why I did mention too. I'm going to show bits and clips, but also too, for the people that want to watch this in full, they can go to YouTube, Devil in White Plains, Joy Corcoran.
Yeah, you'll see my name Corcoran come up, but if you just type in Devil in White Plains, I think you see me on the floor with Rose Porto, the lead investigator of that team, CT Paranormal. They, thank God we're Catholics and other Christians. She has the crucifix, I think, on my back. I mean, I try not to watch the video because it's so disturbing, but
I'd like to showcase some of it right now, Joy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, all right, now to do this, I found
something about the mic, right? You have to.
Right, I have to unplug my my headphones. So I'm going to have to mute your mic for a second. And let me take down these banners. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at some of these clips here. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear it okay, Joy.
What's the matter? I can't stop shaking. This has never happened before. Okay. She's shaking. She's trembling. Is it leaving? Or?
Okay. Let me get my headphone back in there. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
wow.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I try not to watch it, but sometimes I have to remind myself, like, that I
Yeah.
went through that and that
Well,
I'm
what's
still
really
alive.
disturbing to me is I mean, the whole idea of being possessed obviously is very frightening, you know, and
Yeah.
but it looks like you're in excruciating pain and that you're very ill, you know. So and now too, from more research that I've done, also apparently the person, like, it sounds like you're almost like vomiting. You said the sound like, and
Yeah, it's that, but it's. Go ahead.
yeah, well, I've from what I've seen, like in Ghost Adventures TV shows and things like this, is that the person does actually that's a common occurrence is
Growing up, yeah.
right when they're expelling
Mm-hmm.
the foreign malevolent entity, that there is that heaving or vomiting type of
Yeah,
process.
you often throw up and fart or have gas, sneeze. There are many things that happen. In this case, it feels like that. It's horrible. I mean, it's horrible, but it's real. Like, I don't know about you, but that when I listen to it, that doesn't sound human. I have kind of like a deeper female voice. Like, it's not like a really high pitched voice, but I don't believe that those sounds could be made with these vocal cords. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like, I always say to people, if you hook me up to a lie detector, you would see, pardon me, that I'm telling the truth, that I'm speaking the truth. Pardon me. I'm trying to put this here without my finger being in the camera. Give me a second. But that's not human. It doesn't sound human to me because it's not human. It's not me. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not a Harvard graduate. I'm not a college graduate. I'm just a simple woman who knows more than the average person about the Bible, I think, and about demonology and this type of thing, because I have had no choice. And because the Lord has put holy people in my life, and I've decided to research the heck out of this to help as many souls as I can through Christ. And I do not recognize my voice when I see and hear that. I know I was there. I know what happened. I know it's real. And when I say, if some guy with a lie detector that's a professional says he wants to give me a test, bring it. You could bring 10 of them. I pass them all because I'm telling the truth. Now, that is just something I wanted to say, that I feel the need to say. And because I want to help people, because, thank you, someone said, I'm sorry you went through that. Thank you, Misha, Marisha Upton, because, like, I am here this moment only because of God's mercy. And I don't want anyone to suffer all the losses I've suffered, all the pain I've endured. It is for a reason, so that you all don't have to endure that. And so I can help you before you get to the point of either killing yourself or killing someone else, or losing your mind, or losing custody unjustly of your children. Or, you heard about the woman from Gary, Indiana, Sonny. That case was insane. I mean, I know you're a skeptic, but those kids were literally seen, there are cases like that. That's an exceptionally powerful, crazy case. But
I think you're referring to the now Zach Baggins again with the Ghost Adventures, another free plug. But he had made a documentary video called The Demon House, and it was about with the African American family, correct? And then the kids were floating in the air, and the inside the doctor's office or it was some kind of a professional facility.
Yeah.
But all of these people, nurses, doctors, they see these
Witness.
kids walking up the wall, witness these kids
That's right.
walking up the wall, floating, and
Mm-hmm.
they have police chief
Yes.
documenting on this.
That's
Now,
right.
also too, I was looking for that book the other day, a book called "Delivers from Evil," and I believe that's about the. I haven't read it yet, but I've seen the movie on that.
I think I read
from,
that. I think I read that.
right, the detective, former detective, was it
Oh
Ralph
yeah,
Sarchie?
Ralph Sarchie. I love him. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I've watched him on Facebook doing
He's
doing
great.
the rosary and stuff,
Yeah, he's great.
and so I mean we have so many cases, report after
Mhm.
report after report, and we're not just talking about ordinary people. We're talking about these are prominent people in the community, doctors, lawyers, police officers, police chiefs,
That's right.
witness after witness after witness, and they all have testified these things are real.
This is why I bring them up quickly in this video, because I mean, you know what I've said to you. I do not want money. I do not want fame. I want to help people so that they don't have to go through what I went through. I mean, my heart goes out to every one of them, and God knows. I mean, what I went through, God knows it's real and it happened, and Father knows, and many other people too that have seen and witnessed. And why should someone, you know how hard it was, Sonny, for me to even get a team. Father got that team to come investigate that haunted place. It was through his help and intercession that I got all this help through God to begin with. But what I'm saying is that some people have no one. Father has never stopped helping me. He's always helped me through Christ. And if he could do all this for me, then I mean, my God knows I can help some people. I want to for the rest of my life. I have to.
Now, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you to talk to you about more about this, or maybe possibly to talk to Father Ruben Lopez, how would one go about doing that?
Well, I have a page on Facebook called Help for Possessed. And Father just said that the demons will not show you any mercy. This is true. They're relentless, and their goal is possession, period. So if someone thinks it's going to go away, it's not. If they think, oh, if I just pray, look, you need to call a paranormal group. I mean, that's what I do. They call me on Help for Possessed. My number is there, the number that I use I begin to get to know them. They call me, I take notes, I discern, I pray, and then if it seems that it is a case where they need
Clergy.
where they need clergy, or this type of thing, then I will refer them to Father or another deacon or someone else. There's a few people that I have that are willing and gracious enough to do that, to help me with this through Christ, because this is not going to get any better. What I mean is, it's not going to get any easier. The world we live in and the way things are going, we need more exorcists. Like Father just said, the demons want souls. This is not a joke. They do want souls. I mean, Sonny, most of my life, I was living in, basically just very sin life. If my son ever watches this, I'm not going to get too specific, but let's just say that I no longer commit these sins, which would keep me from heaven. And I'm at this moment in a state of grace, thanks be to God. But, I had to change my life a long time ago, or you can't just have an exorcism if you're blessed enough to get one and then just go back to, whatever you were living, a life of debauchery, let's say. It changes you. And if and when you survive, you must always pray and why not help others? Why not? If you have, God gave me the knowledge through these blessed, most holy people, then how can I not? It's what I prayed to do, and God has allowed me to begin to do. And thank you for, opening this can of whip ass against Satan, because I don't know, excuse my language, Father, but I mean, honestly, people need all the help that they can get here. And I went through most of this before Father came to help me. Many would not believe me, because it's easier to dismiss someone that they're having emotional mental illness, than much easier to say that than to say, oh, wait a minute, because people are not trained on how to deal with this. And most priests are not. So thank God I had a priest. He gave me the number to the Archdiocese of New York, the priest there. And I got that number, and then through Father Ruben here was able to get that exorcist to actually help me. But do you know how difficult it is? And what I'm saying is that in the time that the person takes to get that exorcist or clergyman to help them, I can help them through Christ to survive. Okay, I'm a survivor of, exorcism and hundreds of deliverances before that exorcism. So I can tell you, if I can do it, they can do it through Christ. But without faith, I don't know how they can do it.
Well, I got to say this, that 46 years here on Earth might just be, a minute fraction to some people's lives. Somebody maybe 80 or 90 or 100 years old, or even have lived even longer than that. But within 46 years' time, I've learned quite a lot. And I'll tell you what, I've experienced true evil, and I know that evil exists.
Yes.
For a fact. But anyways, I'd like to do a Q&A. We have a few members on, and actually, let's take a look. We have almost like a full paragraph here from Misha Upton. A demon in my room touched me, tried to get on top of me, and held me down. It's like rape. No joke. I got help. I have holy water and crosses now. I'm in here. I'm sitting here crying right now, telling you about it. I hope it don't come back. I hope it doesn't come back. Now, now, I want to point out too here. There are also from what I've studied, demons known as incubus and succubus.
Yeah.
Right, the incubi and the succubi, who they are. They will try to, perform sexual acts.
I was raped, Sonny. Wow. I was raped by one of these things. Okay.
Wow.
I never told you that, because this is insane. And the fact, listen to me, Misha. I want you to get in touch with me. My heart goes out to you. Just hold on. I believe you. Okay. I know what you're doing. I know you're telling me the truth. Just stay calm. Don't let them. It's been a year now. Okay. So, we're going to have to not discuss this here, because clearly I'm getting emotional because I can feel your pain, but just bless yourself with the holy water, stay in a state of grace, and contact me. Okay, please, because I want to talk to you and make sure that you're doing or have done all of the necessary things, because not everyone needs an exorcism. Sometimes, you can pray and
prayers of deliverance.
Yeah, exactly. So never give up and stay calm. And if you're crying, I hope they're tears of joy. And if they're not, they will be. So just hold your faith, because your faith is stronger than anything. So stay in a state of grace, don't give in to temptation, and just don't give up. Because if I can survive, you can survive through Christ. Remember, Jesus is the key. And if you're not baptized, get baptized and have your house blessed immediately by a priest or other clergy, please.
Now, I have a question about baptism. Now, before anybody starts to have a panic here, or get me even more scared, but anyways, I don't think I was baptized as a child, but at one time I did get some holy water, and I don't think even my mom. I take care of my senior mother, I had poured some. First I asked for forgiveness. I prayed, and I said, I know I'm not ordained, but if you could accept this, and I poured some water on my mother's head, and I asked her to pour some water on my head, and that we accepted, the Holy Spirit. We believe in Christ. That he was
Yes.
born, he died, and 3 days later he rose from the grave. Now let's ask that to the Father. Would that be an acceptable?
I can actually answer that. And if I'm wrong, trust me, he'll tell you.
Yeah. Now, would that be an acceptable?
Listen, yeah. I know you meant well, and you have a great heart, and God knows I love you, and I mean that in the holiest way. The baptism. Now, look, if someone's dying, literally, and you have holy water, you can baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And if they're dying, that's one situation, and you're not a priest. But really, Sonny, please understand that you must be baptized by a priest or other clergy member. It is essential, okay? Yeah. Remember in Acts chapter 12, they say, well, how must we be saved? And St. Paul says, you and your family must be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ to be saved, okay? So who has the authority to do that? A priest or as a Catholic, I'm going to say a priest, but any clergy member, Baptist, whatever. Please, Sonny, you know that I was going to bug out when I heard this. So no, but I mean, with all my heart, I'm asking you, please do that.
I have another question here. I've been known to make some very sound arguments. Now, say for instance, and I know sometimes my examples might be like, well, that's not going to ever happen, or this and that.
But go ahead.
Okay, so now what I was saying is that God, in his infinite wisdom and infinite power, he has thought of everything. He has thought of everything. He's covered all the bases. Now, I have another couple of questions here. Now, say for instance, there was an atomic war. Okay, it could happen. People
I'm going to go past you because I'm miles past you, because that's so not true. I just wanted to say it because it's silly. But the thing is, the reason I'm going past you is because I know where you're going. There will be a time, and it's been prophesied by many holy priests like Father Michel Rodrigue, that there will be a time when the priest will be doing mass baptisms, meaning he will put his right hand up with holy water, blessing and baptizing all these people in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen, with holy water, because there's going to be a time that this will be necessary, which is why I say to you, if you go to any church that's not Catholic, you're going to have an easier time getting baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. Why would a Catholic tell you this? Because I have to tell you this, because it's the truth, and you must be baptized in Jesus' name. And if you don't have time to go to the classes for Catholicism to become a Catholic, which I hope you do, but if you don't, you can have a Baptist or another Pentecostal, a Protestant person come and baptize your mom at the home. If she believes in Christ and receives him, someone will be willing to do that. And certainly you can be baptized too, but they're going to want you, of course, to go to church regularly. Okay. Right. And I'm going to be praying for you until you do this. You know that I'm not going to stop until you do this.
Right. Now, so back in the day, I had a homeboy back in California. We say homeboy back in California. I had a homeboy back in California, Arturo, and he was a member of the church. And I was talking about, getting baptized, me and my mom. And he's like, well, no, you got to be a member of the church for a while. And I'm like, dude, we're talking about our eternal spirits here. We got to go to the church, And I'm like, well, hey,
You have to be, remember, I can tell you because I know in Catholicism, there's you have the sacraments, you have to do one at a time. Normally you're baptized as an infant. So now if you go, I would suggest, or I can suggest, what you could do more quickly and easily is at least be baptized by some Protestant denomination in the name of Jesus Christ until you can figure out what Catholic church, if hopefully you choose to become Catholic, because we have such a beautiful faith with the saints and the Blessed Mother and Our Lady of Fatima. I just wanted to say that. But honestly, it's really beautiful. And the traditional faith, like, and the Latin Mass. I mean, I just see you being a Catholic. That's just me. But
Well, now
but
also
you
too,
to
well,
be
what I
back.
wanted to say, for instance, that nuclear war did occur, but there was nobody left except me and you, Joy. It was me and you. Now you're not
I hope
ordained. Well, hold
I
on a
hope there's a
second.
dog. Okay.
Well, no, hold on. No, hold on a second. It's just me and you left. Okay. And she's probably thinking right now it's a scary thought. But anyways, all right.
No,
So
it's
now,
like that
yeah.
kind of sucks. Okay.
Well,
Not,
really?
nothing against you, but nothing
Yeah.
against you, nothing personal, but it's just like,
Okay.
oh, that's a sad situation. We don't even have a dog or a squirrel to play with. That
She's probably
Okay.
thinking that's the last man on earth. No. Okay.
No,
So
no.
anyways,
So, yeah.
so it's just me
So-
and you. Now, could you
Yeah.
baptize me in that case, and would it be acceptable to God?
I have to repeat what I've said before, that unless you were dying, but wait a minute. I guess I would have to wait until you were dying.
Whoa.
That's the best answer, because I'm not.
Hopefully, it's a
I-
long death, right? Hopefully, it's a long, drawn out death. Imagine it's like, no, wait a second, she ain't done yet. Huh?
He's so crazy. No, I mean, I don't know where you come up with this stuff, but it's a good question, but it's
Yeah.
just unusual.
I have
And it's
another
deep.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, I had another question. Now,
If I'm wrong, of course, Father will definitely correct me. Wait for it. It's coming.
so
So what's
now,
the question?
now, say for instance, the children. And now I heard that unbaptized children, when they die, they go to limbo.
I have heard
and-
this too.
Now, and now, what is limbo? Is limbo trapped forever? Is that it? They're stuck there now. Now, with God's
hold on.
infinite wisdom,
Hold on, I can't.
Wouldn't that be impossible?
No, nothing is impossible for God. That's what the scripture says, right?
That's what I'm
And
saying.
it's true.
So
Nothing is
unbaptized
impossible
children,
for God.
still have a chance to get to heaven, right?
I must believe this, because as the word of God does say, nothing is impossible for God. For instance, all the babies murdered and before they're even born, is it their fault that they're murdered or that they're not born? No. Do they have a soul in the womb? Yes. Jeremiah even said, before God told him, before I knew you while you were in your mother's womb. So we have a soul. Every baby. So when that soul is put there, it's always there from before we're even born. So I bet you're going to have lots of preachers and ministers and priests wanting to meet you and baptize you and your mom. And I'm going to pray that now, that through this whole thing, that's one blessing that comes from this video, because you, I'm so surprised, are not baptized, because you're really a good guy, and I know you have faith in Christ. And Father said something. You want to take this?
A priest or deacon or pastor can do a baptism ritual.
A priest or deacon or pastor. There you go. Okay, so that's what you need. So there you go. Are you happy now?
Yeah, basically, it's just someone that is closer to God, that has that divine link there.
They have the authority, and God has given them, a special anointing and appointing to do this. So they've gone through a lot. A priest, now a deacon can also be married, as you know, and a pastor can also be married. So really, it's really not that complicated, okay? And it's essential for your salvation, as it says in Acts 12, that you must be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ to be saved. So it would be a travesty and a tragedy, ridiculous, if you were not saved.
Yeah.
And if any soul, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're here. What does he say here? An unborn child will be in heaven if a death had occurred. Thank you, Father. An unborn child will be in heaven if a death had occurred. So
now, I'm wondering if that was because the child is blameless. innocent. So
Well, yeah,
actually,
there's.
maybe didn't actually need to receive the baptism
I mean, clearly that's the most innocent is the unborn babies, you know.
and born
So,
babies, obviously,
oh
right?
yeah, I mean, the innocence of a child. In fact, a lot of Protestant denominations think that they say that the child should not be baptized until he or she is at the age of knowledge or understanding, which they may say is 12 or
Well,
10.
they
But
call
as a
that the
Catholic,
they call that the age of accountability.
yes, correct. So as a Catholic, though, of course, I was baptized at like a year old. My son was baptized at 3 days old, and the priest was like, "You're insane," and I'm like, "Thank you." So, so Catholics, we tend to like to get it done, the baptism done, you know, when the infancy of a child.
Now,
Yeah.
you know what I find interesting is now Catholicism teaches in purgatory, and I've heard of limbo. Now, I'm thinking now in one of my older trailers, I point out that Catholicism teaches in other alternate realms besides heaven and hell, purgatory and limbo, where souls are trapped awaiting release. Could these be the ghosts that haunt our houses and inhabit graveyards at night?
Uh,
On a paranormal aspect, could that be where are where
I
if
do
people
know.
are
I
if
do have
people
an
are
answer.
seeing ghosts?
I do
Go
have
ahead.
one answer. I know that Saint Padre Pio, one of my favorite saints, who actually carried the wounds of Christ, the stigmata. I'm sure you know about that. He would pray for the souls in purgatory, and often would see apparitions or dreams of souls that had not yet gone from purgatory into heaven. So we are to pray for the souls in purgatory, because so that they can enter heaven, because they stay in purgatory until they've reached a purification enough to get into heaven, right? So they're not happy campers in purgatory. It's like a fire, but it's not hellfire. It's like purification sort of fire, right? So he would see this. He would often see souls, as many saints, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that have seen souls of those in purgatory that were not yet, had not yet ascended into heaven because they were not yet pure enough. So that being said, I can only believe that yes, that souls that are in purgatory, I suppose, could be ghosts, but that's more of that you could see them as a ghost. But I'm not too knowledgeable on the ghost thing, because what I dealt with was straight up. It
Demonic.
went from orbs to shadow people to demons holding me down, and literal manifestations of demons, which I
Well,
saw one of. Yeah. So
check
I mean,
this
so
out.
yeah.
Yeah, check this out now, Joy. So, anyways, we were discussing this a colleague of mine, and about the paranormal, and he was saying ghosts don't exist here on Earth at all. The hauntings that people are experiencing are actual demons. Now, the reference that he goes back to point out is he was saying, because in the Bible it says to be absent of this body is to be present with the Father. So how can they be present with the Father and here? So what he was trying to say is, by that text, that's saying and indicating to him, anybody with common sense, that anything supernatural that we're experiencing here on Earth are not human ghosts, but malevolent entities.
Well, I don't think he's insane at all, because, or I'm just saying, because I have seen
It
many
makes
orbs
sense.
and things like this. I honestly, I have the feeling, and I know a deacon personally very well, who I have asked him, do you believe, like I believe that any orb is evil, flat out. Like some people will tell me, no, it's a ghost, or I'm like, look, as soon as I saw the orbs, that's when everything started to get demonic. So I judge from my own experience that there's not a good orb and a bad orb, but I've been told that's not true. So
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know either, but I do believe that we have to be really careful of what we see, because sometimes what we see could be a trick. I have been tricked many times and seen things that looked like my dad in a dream, and then it would turn into some demonic thing. So they know things that, like, I am sure that aliens are demons, which is something you'll probably want to discuss in detail in the future, or not. but I'm convinced, and so are many other people of God, Catholics in particular, that this is true.
I did a PowerPoint presentation for Bishop Long about now it was on demonology, and it was about now I was really exploring demonology like to where people wouldn't even think of this would be demonology. But one of my presentations was about UFOs and extraterrestrials actually being demonic.
Okay,
And I was
so
pointing out references from the Bible and stuff that would kind of like make a conclusion that, you know, they
are,
weren't,
right?
yeah, they weren't creatures from another planet, but actually beings from above.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And a lot of people, when I tell them that, they're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, think about it. Because honestly, I was raped by what looked like like you see those big old alien looking things with big eyeballs. That's what they were in my shower. And then suddenly I woke up the next day in my bed, in my room, and I couldn't walk for a good 2.5, 3 days. I couldn't put my legs together. That's a true story. Yeah, it's insane. It's one of the more insane ones I wanted to hit in the middle of this because you like the weirdest stories, and that's one of the weirdest ones I've got.
Well, here's another thing why I also base that on evidence. Now, in the Bible, it speaks of God's. Well, hold on. It speaks of God's vehicle. You've heard of God's vehicle or chariot, and it has like these faces on there, and he actually can travel with this. I call it a vehicle. And now on this thing that he flies around on has like a face of an eagle and a face of whatever it might be.
Cherubim.
But now, right? So the cherubim, right? So now I'm thinking, based on that, and if he has basically like a vehicle that we would call a vehicle, obviously it's a spiritual chariot of some sort. But if God has this type of vehicle, what would stop? Why wouldn't it be also applicable to angels? And in this case, fallen angels or demons. Now, and then also in this case, these vehicles
UFOs
that we see, the UFOs that we're seeing, they're not actually spaceships, but demonic vehicles.
That's right. That's absolutely 1,000% correct.
That
and
was
you know
part
what?
of my presentation.
That's amazing. I want to see it. I want to read it. I'm not kidding.
I sent it to Bishop James Long. Yeah,
I want to see this. That is so awesome. What did he think of it? Did he agree?
Yeah, honestly, okay. He felt. Now I spent quite a bit of time making that PowerPoint presentation, and he was saying that it wasn't, it was lacking basically. And I was
lacking what? Lacking what?
Yeah, but I thought it was an incredible presentation.
Look, who am I? Listen, I have to read this. Listen, I know a few priests and possibly exorcists who would absolutely agree with what you're saying, what I'm saying, and what we believe. So obviously some bishops completely disagree with each other. And then you have bishops that, one will think something entirely different than another one.
Yeah, I had pictures and videos and all kinds of stuff. And I was like,
I think
it's not good enough, Yeah.
I know brothers. There's a book. There's a book about this that actually got me thinking to believe this. Written by brother Peter and Michael Diamond. They're not. They're sort of. I can't say fallen away Catholics. They're a different type of Catholic that they don't like believe in the Pope at all. It's complicated, but the thing is they've written some very good content, okay, and that is their weirdest thing they've ever written. But I agree with it that they call it like the UFOs and the elaborate hoax against mankind, like the hoax being that UFOs are aliens from other planets, when in fact they're demons. And their spaceships are demonic spaceships.
Right. Now, another one is, I went outside the box. I went totally outside the box. And I said, you know what? You want a PowerPoint presentation on demonology? Check this out. So anyways, that was one of them with the UFOs, extraterrestrials. Another one I put on was vampires. Another one I did, one I did on, well, we're not going to delve deep in that, but I did vampires everything that was outside the box. I even did video games and how video games were actually demonic. Even though I'm a video gamer myself, I'm guilty.
Yeah, there's a lot of obsession. The word obsession comes to mind. Yeah, the word, you could become obsessed with this type of thing.
No.
Right?
What I did is I went and I looked for the darkest video games that I could find. Now there's one bit. Yeah, there was one. Well, I mean, this is for the PowerPoint presentation on demonology. So I found this one video game where you actually go to hell. You die and go to hell, and you have to try to. Yeah, you have to try to escape hell. Now I was showing, and then
what is it about Dante? Wasn't it about something about the Inferno, Dante? Okay, sorry.
No. This is just literal straight hell. No 7 levels of hell or anything like that. Now, or 9 levels. Now, what I did was I showed also the progression of older video games, like we spoke about earlier with Pac-Man and stuff. You know, Super Mario Brothers, to today's demonic influence of video games and their demonic influence on people.
You're 100,000% correct, and how you become antisocial, and the children are completely and adults too. Yeah,
not just that, but how evil it's become. I mean, then you got the video games where you're chopping people's heads off, blowing people up, people,
the violence,
going to hell.
I mean, that's beyond. You see, but it's absolutely insane, because, pardon me, it also would psychologically somehow could perhaps convince the child that this is all a game, this is not real. Guess what? It is real, and that's the problem.
And they're being desensitized to these types of things. Now, another part of my PowerPoint presentation was on Halloween, the holiday Halloween. Now, and if you take it now, Halloween is based on a Celtic the Druids, the Celtic religion and stuff from way back in the day. Halloween comes from a compilation of a lot of practices throughout time and throughout the world, such as Mexico, Egypt, Ireland, but
All Hallows Eve. Yeah, I tend to avoid that holiday because it's known as the holiday for the evil people. As we celebrate Christmas, they celebrate Halloween. Yeah.
Halloween today, though, compared to what it was, even 20, 40, 50 years ago, Halloween today, if you see some of these costumes, the provocative costumes, the nudity, showing the breasts, the demonic figures, the costumes that they wear.
That's right.
You can see, it's like with the video games, you see the transition from like video games from where the video games were very innocent to now to where there are very demonic, and Halloween has also followed in that transition of becoming just like plain evil. Even though I still love, I'm as a person, I love Halloween. I love, the dress up and the decorating and just getting in the festive mood and giving out candy and.
Oh yeah, like I did, but when I went through all this and I learned what it really was, that's when I stopped liking Halloween, and that's when I put a picture of Jesus on my door, and every Halloween I'm like, we celebrate Christ here. Like, I mean, I do not celebrate Halloween anymore.
But as I was saying though, even though I still like Halloween, I still celebrate Halloween in our own mild way. It has it's been twisted and changed to where I see it's sick. Halloween has become ill. When you're glorifying, death and murder and malevolent entities, it's become twisted. It's become twisted.
Yeah, but when you look at the meaning of it to begin with, it is a twisted holiday and it is evil, essentially. So it's the celebration of evil rather than Christ.
I did the research. I did extensive research on it. Now, back in the day when it was first formulated, there was nothing. Now people could say, well, it wasn't Christian, so it was evil. Okay, you could say that, but it had no, there was no death, there was no murder, there was no sex and violence. It was
Pardon me.
about love, it was about prosperity. But just like with the video games that were innocent back in the day, it became twisted.
Corrupt. Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't mind, do you mind if I read this comment really fast?
Where is it?
Someone
Oh.
named Janice has written something to us.
Go for it.
It says, I have insane stories. I can't open up about them. You are so brave. Well, hi, Janice. Thank you. I'm not really brave. If I'm anything, it's through Christ. And by the way, Janice, you say that you have insane stories. Well, you see, if you need to talk about these things, you see, I tend to not. I talk about these things because I have to, so that you all understand. You know, that's how I can help you guys, by giving you an idea of what I've been through, so that you know, not only, you know, so I can help you all. But I don't like to talk about them. I do so as to help, right? So through Christ. So if you need to talk about anything, you know, if you go to help for possessed, and that's help number 4, POSESSED on Facebook, you'll see my phone number that I will talk if you can't talk to anyone or open up to them about it. I try not to talk about in general, like, oh, you went through this, I went through that. Like, unless it helps you or someone, I try not to talk about the horrendous stuff. Oh, Father says demons are up to date in our technology. Yes.
Yeah.
That, like, for instance, Sonny, are you aware that you've heard in the past, like you say, gremlins and stuff on airplanes or whatever? They say, oh, and they used to call it gremlins. Well, I'll give you an example about technology and the demonic. Father knows this story. He testified to this. I walked into a library once before I had the exorcism, and I walked into the front desk where there's a computer sitting, and there's about, I don't know, 50 other computers in the library. And as soon as I walked up to the desk, I wanted to get one movie, a French movie. I forget the name of it, with Romain Duris. So I go up and I start asking. As soon as I say to the woman, do you have this movie? She goes, hold on. And within 3 seconds, she goes, oh my gosh, all the computers just went down. And I said, what? And she goes, every computer just crashed. I've never seen this happen. And I was like, oh crap. These things would happen to me often. Lights would go out, technology would, like TVs just wouldn't work. True story. God bless you, Janice. You're very welcome. Thank God. So yeah, these butt faces probably watch TV themselves to understand we can't see them. So let's say a family sitting and watching TV, it's not far-fetched to think that these faces are watching TV too. So their goal is possession. They don't just come to visit and poke you a little bit and give you some sleep paralysis. It's a not too slow thing. It's a progressive thing, and the goal is possession. And if they can't possess you, then they try to kill you or get you to kill somebody else so that you're damned. So that
the ultimate goal is to kill you or have you kill somebody else and kill you. That is the demon's ultimate goal.
I mean, yeah, but their goal is possession. So if you kill someone or you kill yourself, then you damn yourself, essentially, right? So, right. But their goal, like, is to possess you so that they can get you to fornicate and all this kind of stuff, and then maybe they can convince you to kill yourself or something. So if you're possessed, it's easier. If they get you to that point, then they're going to be able to more than likely get you, if at any point, to be homicidal and suicidal and both. So when you often see these guys that go and kill people and you have an increase in pornography, these things tend to bring men and women to violence, to commit violent acts. So even Ted Bundy mentioned that before he was executed. He said that pornography, he didn't blame everything on that, but he did say that was a strong component in going from regular pornography to hardcore pornography. And every serial killer that we are aware of has had an issue with hardcore pornography and a severe addiction. That's something that I figured I would mention. And also the fact that many of them, like the guy who talked to his dog, were known to be demonically possessed, son of Sam. You know, his
Right.
dog talked to him, you know. I mean, yeah, some people say he was crazy. I don't think so. I think he allegedly became a Christian in jail. Okay, whatever. But I mean, I don't know. What I do know is that I believe that many, if not all of them, were possessed, which is why they, you know, became homicidal and killed so many people and did sick, evil things. So what I mean though is that, like, you have to realize that if for the rest of my life I've been blessed to be able to try to help people to not be tormented and become possessed and you know, my gosh, you know, this is souls we're talking about. As Father said, it couldn't be said more perfectly. The demons want souls. Like in these days, you have everything, like you said, in video games. Kids are addicted to video games. They start watching porn. They say at like age 11 now. So
Jesus.
the devil's starting young. He's like, look, if I can, you know, break up the family. So it's divide, conquer. There's a certain way that if we can, you know, I don't care what people think of me. And for those or think about me, I want them to think Christ and to know that now I live completely and unequivocally for Christ and to help souls to be saved, because it is only through Christ and miracles of God that I was cured of a brain tumor without even the intervention of God, miraculously. And that this illness that I was diagnosed with, I truly believe God will heal me in his name miraculously so that I can help souls. That is my belief. And so if someone diagnoses you with anything, that don't accept it and say, okay, I've got a death sentence, I'm going to die. No, say, you know what, Jesus, I believe in miracles because God is a God of miracles. And nothing is impossible for Sonny. We got another one from Father. You want to take this?
Demons will try to break your mind and then your health at the same time. The unholy are determined to corrupt your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now when we go back to the symptoms of possession, you got your infestation, oppression, and possession. Now, with the oppression aspect of that, the demons are trying to break your will mentally. You'll be hearing the voices. You'll see the apparitions. It's going to be tormenting you, mentally breaking you down, which will in time eventually manifest physically. And I mean, you know, like the story of Michelle Annalise. Have you ever seen the movie or read the book about the
Annalise Michelle? Yeah.
Yeah, Annalise Michelle. The movie was called though. It escapes me
I
at
know
this time.
Was it Conjuring? I can't remember the name of
not The Conjuring. Not The Conjuring. The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah, I did see that.
Right now, eventually,
Pardon me.
she now this is based on a true story, and
yes.
She didn't take someone else's life. She didn't take her own life, but eventually succumbed to the possession from breaking her down mentally. It actually
and physically.
Well, the
she
mental, I mean physically as well, but I think mainly it was the mental attacks, hearing the voices, seeing everything, and not being able to eat because of these things, and the body wasn't able to
metabolize,
defend itself, and that eventually killed her. And in which case, you know, I guess you could say the demon was, you know, successful.
Mm-hmm. Well, they say, I believe that she was saved before she died. I don't think she went to hell. I think that, you see, she died. They say the cause of death was was dehydration and starvation. I don't think, I think that God allowed her to die. That's just my feeling, that God allowed her to just go to be with him in heaven, and that priests were successful. That's what I believe. But I don't know if that's true. I know that those priests went to jail because we're charged with her death, and so that they were seen as guilty for not feeding her or hydrating her the way that they should have. But of course, they had to blame somebody. So, with these butt faces, you never know what's going to happen, but if you have faith, then whatever does happen, you just continue to pray and believe that God will heal you, but don't just assume that you can go and la-di-da and it's just going to go away, because that's not how it works.
Now,
You gotta.
I was going to see if we still have a few viewers on. Does anyone have any questions for Joy before we wrap this up? Because we are going on a little over 2 hours now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
Right? Yeah, we should do this more often. And you should bring your EMF thing on every date from now on. And if that thing goes off, you got to watch it.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Any questions? Janice, Misha, Father Ruben.
I don't think he has any questions. He probably has lots of information, though.
Misha is asking, what's the number to contact you?
Well, help for possessed is, if you go to, I don't have, I'm trying to think of the phone number. See, it's like a phone number I only really use for that, for the most part. I call it the holy phone, but
maybe they can contact you directly on Facebook Messenger.
If they go, they could, but if they go to, I prefer to use this number, because if you go to help for possessed, that's help number 4, POSESSED. I spelled it wrong. Then you'll see the phone number that you can contact me and leave your message on, and I'll get back to you. And then I will call you, because that's how I do it. I don't text about these things. I don't, these are, I take notes, and I take this very seriously, because souls are involved. So the number, where the heck is that phone? Let me see if I can find it for you. Give me 1 second. As we're here, so that then you won't have to go to the page, right? Just give me a second, because I have no technological expertise.
Now, Father Ruben is saying on your Facebook, Joy.
Oh, what is it on your Facebook? Oh, so you just want me to leave it there, Father? Is that what you're saying? That I don't have to look up I don't think he wants me to give the phone number out now. He's probably saying to go to the Facebook. That's probably what he means. Yeah. So the number is because he's like, Father is like my spiritual sort of director, counselor, sort of. So wisdom would say, I'm sure, that through Christ, that if you go to my page, you'll see the phone number there, sweetie. Okay. It's it's on help number 4, possess, POSESSED. And you'll see a lot of stuff on my page, that should probably help you too, like videos I have done. And you'll see the phone number there. It's a 914 area code. Hold on. And the first 3 numbers are 639. That's the one you want to call and leave a message on. And I will get back to you within 24 hours. Probably much less time than that. And I'll call you and we'll speak. And I'll take notes, and we'll take it from there. Okay?
Well, Joy, it's been a real honor to have you on finally. We finally touched base, and it happened. And
yeah.
Anyways, there's a lot of comments in there. I put up a majority of the relevant ones. And I kept a couple off that I just didn't want to put them up there. But everybody can look through those comments later when the video is uploaded to Facebook. But anyways, thank you for coming on. Big thank you to Father Ruben Lopez. Excuse me. All our viewers, thank you so much. And until next time,
God bless you, Sonny.
Thank you. I accept. I need blessings. Yeah.
Now, listen, I'm going to be on you about the baptism, okay? So
Well, yeah, yeah. I'm
don't
also,
worry.
yeah.
I'm Googling churches in your area soon.
Okay. I'm also a single, very eligible bachelor. If anybody sees this and they want to give me, hey,
Wow.
I gotta get married eventually. You know what I mean?
Well,
Hey,
you never know. You never know.
right. So, anyways, thank you, Joy. And what I want to
Thank
do
you.
is, I usually have a closing statement printed up, but I call me lazy. But I'm gonna close it out with Stitch's video. He did the I call it the X-Files video. Anyways,
Cool.
on behalf of myself, Doc-Mach, Joy, and my partner Stich, Stoney, Arizona, and Chris from the Phoenix division, and our new partner here in Las Vegas, JD. A big thank you to all of our viewers, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye, Sonny. Bye, everyone. God
Bye-bye.
bless you.